Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how we can factor polynomials by the method of grouping. So with grouping, most of the time we're going to have a 4-term polynomial, and we can take out a common monomial to help us factor by grouping. So in yellow it says for some polynomials you can factor by grouping pairs of terms that have a common monomial factor. And so I'm going to show you this pattern here in white, and then we're going to do 3 examples in this video. So here we have xy plus xz plus wy plus wz. So if you notice, both of these, or all of these terms here have a w and a z, right? Not a w, a y and a z. And so here we could factor out an x, right? So this would become x times y plus z. And then here we could factor out this w. So this would become w and then y plus z. So the common monomial factor that we've factored out is y plus z. And so now we can bring that together as one binomial, like we are factoring that out. And now we have our other factor would be x plus w. And so that's how we can factor by grouping. So the monomial that we factored out an x, we factored out a w, and that created a common binomial, which was y plus z. And so that y plus z, the common binomial, stays in our answer as one of our factors. And then the 2 monomials that we factored out become a binomial in our final answer. So let's look at 3 examples and let's apply this. So for number 1, we have x cubed minus 2x squared minus 9x plus 18. So sometimes we might have to rearrange the terms. In this example, we don't. So we're going to group these 2 terms here and the first 2 and the last 2. So we're going to think, okay, what can we factor out of x cubed and negative 2x squared? Well, let's factor out an x squared. So once we do that, what did we leave behind? We have an x minus 2. So now we're going to take negative 9x plus 18, and what we would like to have happen is that in parentheses we have x minus 2, because then we've created a common binomial that we can factor out. So let's factor out this negative 9, and we're going to get x minus 2. So now we can put together our 2 monomials, so x squared minus 9, and we could put together our common binomial, so x minus 2. Now, one thing we notice, hopefully we see x squared minus 9, is the difference of 2 squares. So we can factor this even further. Right now it's not factored completely. So we know the difference of squares factors as the sum and difference pattern. So x squared minus 9 would be x plus 3 times x minus 3. And then we have our final binomial at the end, which was x minus 2. So that would be our final factorization there for number 1. All right, number 2, once again, we can group together our first 2 terms and our last 2 terms. So our first 2, let's factor out a 3x squared. So 3x squared. And now in parentheses, we're going to have x plus 6, right? So now, once again, we would like to have x plus 6 in our parentheses over here. So let's factor out an 8. And what do we know? We do get x plus 6. So now we can pull together our 2 monomials, 3x squared plus 8. And we have our binomial x plus 6, okay? And now there's nothing else that we can do with this one, so it is factored completely at this point, okay? All right, last one, number 3, we have 4x cubed minus 16x squared minus 9x plus 36. So once again, let's group together our first 2 and our last 2 terms. So for our first 2 terms, we have 4x cubed and 16 or negative 16x squared. So let's factor out a 4x squared. So now in parentheses we're going to get x minus 4, and so hopefully now we are going to get x minus 4 on our second 2 terms. So once we factor out this negative 9, we do get x minus 4, and so now we can put together our 2 monomials, so 4x squared minus 9, and now our common binomial is x minus 4. And once again, we have the difference of 2 squares, so 4x squared and 9 are perfect squares. So think about, what did we square to get 4x squared? Well, we squared 2x, right? Because we would square the 2, which would give us 4, and we would square the x, which would give us x squared. So now this is similar to the one we did on number 1. This is going to turn into, so we'll do it out here to the side. This is going to turn into 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. We call that the sum and difference pattern. And then lastly, our last binomial was x minus 4. So that would be the complete factorization for number 3, and that is how you can factor some polynomials by grouping.